talking about the floating fly line again for the trout, I wanted to talk to you about maybe some of the things that people don't like to hear so much, especially when they show up with their nice new fly rod and reel and they got this big old weight forward fly line on it. Well, one of the things that can really be a disadvantage in using this line is the fact that if you're not a really, really good caster and have complete control of your line and your cast, they seem to come in and hit the water pretty darn hard. They can land hard and they slap the water. They also make a lot more line when they're lifted from the water. So in a place like Montana here where these rivers are getting fished and the trout have seen flies, they've seen people fish to them, they've been hooked, stealth is imperative. The double tapered fly line can put that fly in there and it can present a fly much better than a weight forward fly line can. Okay, now there's a really big variety of leaders that are available to the angler. Generally, a tapered leader on a floating fly line is the accepted leader used in fly fishing. There's only a few people like me that sometimes change that little law and fish with maybe just a straight piece of monofilament off the end of my floating fly line. Why do we use a tapered leader on a floating fly line? If you look at a tapered leader and how it's constructed, generally they are going to be from 6 feet long to 12 feet long. They are what we call knotless tapered leaders. So it gradually gets thinner to the point where the tippet material is going to be tied. They also come in different sizes as far as weight, I should say strength. You can get them down to 3 pounds, 2 pounds, all the way up to 20 pounds. And they're all the same though, they're all tapered. So when you go after trout, let's say for instance, a standard leader might be a 4X leader that's 9 feet long. Okay? 9 feet long in a lot of situations is really good. You're going to go ahead and you're going to attach the equivalent amount of test strength that the leader ends with. Let's say it ends in 5 pounds. Now you're going to take a little spool of tippet material that is basically just straight 5 pounds. You may peel off about 25 inches of it, connect it to that, then tie your fly to the end. That's pretty standard in the industry. Most people fish with something like that. There's a variety of ways to fish leaders that don't require a 9-foot long leader. Let's say you want to fish a big grasshopper pattern and you want to float on this river that's going behind us and you want to fish from a boat. You don't need 9 feet a leader. You might only need 6 feet a leader with a smaller tippet with a heavier line like 6 pound or 8 pound with a big dry fly on it. That's all you're going to need there. So each one of these leaders is a specific tool for a specific application. If I'm going over there to Silver Creek and I'm going to fish for those real fussy, highly educated trout, I'm going to put a 12-foot leader on my line, and I may put on 30 or 40 inches of tippet on the end of my leader and put on a little size 20 dry fly to try and fool real selective trout. They're swimming underneath a glassy pool of spring creek water, and they're very hard to catch. When you're fishing on water that's moving, you got riffles and seam lines and rocks and so forth. It's not quite that imperative. Let me also add, the longer the leader that you have on your fly rod, the harder it is to control and accurately cast your fly to your target. I prefer a 7.5-foot leader in general for my general fishing, 7.5 feet long with about 24 inches of tippet. It helps me hit the target that I'm casting at. I can control my line with mins. The accuracy factor is good. again, on selective trout in a lot of these catch and release rivers throughout the land, but especially Montana, you don't get a second chance. So you better get your cast in there, have the right line, have the right leader, right tippet, and hopefully the right fly, and then you'll catch the fish.